Tila bistado na nga ang naging lihim na relasyon noon nina Ivana Alawi at Attorney Dan Fernandez. Ito nga ay matapos mag-viral ang mga litrato ng mga ito na makikita na madalas na magkasama ang dalawa kahit pa may asawa at anak na ang nasabing alkalde. Ayon sa netizens, hindi na daw bago sa mga politiko ang mga ganitong senaryo. Hindi din nakatiis ang ilang taga-suporta ni VP Sara na magbigay ng kanilang komento at sinabing bago muna nga daw sir on ito si VP ay maging loyal muna ito sa kanyang asawa at mga anak.
It's now the 20th Congress. Will the House comply with the impeachment court's second requirement, yung pong certification, na willing and interested pa rin ang House to pursue the impeachment?
Well, nag-start today yung terms ng mga members ng House of Representatives under the 20th Congress, pero yung actual na opening ng 20th Congress ay hindi pa nangyayari. Definitely, tutugunan ng House yung kanilang tungkulin. Natugunan na rin ang House ang kanilang tungkulin sa proseso ng impeachment, sa pag-transmit. Nasa prosecution panel na yung kumpleto pa ng iba pang mga kailangan isumite dun sa orders ng Senate. Sinabi naman na din ng members ng House Prosecution Panel na dun sa mga orders ng impeachment court, susundin naman nila sa tamang panahon.
Ma'am, yung sa election po ng prosecutors, do you know the timetable?
Wala pa akong information tungkol dyan. I would assume pagka nag-open na ulit yung 20th Congress.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Tina. Dwight De Leon from Rappler is next.
Hello po, good afternoon. In light po of the COMELEC decision today, denying the motion for reconsideration of Joey Uy, who will the House recognize as Congressman of Manila 6th District?
Okay. I will answer according to my legal knowledge because I don't want to sound biased, of course. No, we received the decision of the COMELEC and Bank today. From my understanding, the decision will reach its finality 5 days after the promulgation of the decision. Dun pa lang mapoproklama yung declared winner under today's decision. So, it will really be up to the House. I have no information on ano yung magiging current status as of now because of the decision. But with the decision stating na with finality, that decision will be the current status quo, I would assume, no? Pero I would have to check pa more on the legal side and of course to check also with the legal ng House on how they will handle the status quo situation with the new decision.
Would you know lang po, based siguro on preliminary information, if the HRET, the tribunal will take over the case? May ganun na po ba kayong
there's
as a spokesperson of the House?
Okay. Wala pa kasing HRET as of now. Hindi pa nakakapag-organize. So, as spokesperson of the House, I can only state na wala pang HRET na na-organize. But there's a jurisprudence that states, Uy versus COMELEC, that states that HRET's jurisdiction arises when three things occur. Number one, proclamation. Number two, taking of oath before the Speaker in open session, and assumption. So that happens on July 28. Since wala pang HRET jurisdiction, COMELEC still has jurisdiction over questions on congressional controversies.
So yung view po na ina-adopt niya rin is that nag-commence lang yung term ng mga kongresista ngayong araw, but they will assume their office on July 28?
Not necessarily. We are talking about when jurisdictions of the two bodies acquire. So, COMELEC loses jurisdiction once HRET acquires jurisdiction. And when does HRET acquires jurisdiction? Dapat pag nag-concur na yung three things, which includes the taking of oath before the speaker in open session, which usually takes place on the morning of SONA.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Dwight. Bibian Gulia from ABS-CBN2.
Good afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon, Attorney. Sir, ma'am, clarification lang po. You did mention that sa orders ng impeachment court, susundin sa tamang panahon. Will it be accurate to say that the House of Representatives will issue a resolution na itutuloy po yung prosecution laban kay Vice President Duterte?
I cannot speak on something that is yet to happen on the 20th Congress. Hindi pa siya nagsisimula. But the House maintains its position that under the Supreme Court, ang mandato ng saligang batas sa impeachment court is to try and decide. So, dapat tuloy-tuloy ang proseso, tuloy-tuloy ang trial hanggang matapos ito. So, yun lang yung kaya kong sagutin sa ngayon.
And then given the current composition of the House of Representatives, are we expecting any changes when it comes to the prosecution po sa impeachment?
I think may previous announcements before on the inclusion of other public prosecutors. But again, I cannot make any statements until that has been done in the plenary, which will start on July 28th.
Thank you, Bibian. Marian Enriquez from TV5 is next.
Good afternoon po, Attorney. Ma'am, karamihan po dun sa mga nakausap naming Kongs, nag-file kanina ng panukalang batas. May kinalaman po sa wage hike, no, aumento sa sahod. Since we understand, hindi nga po pumasa, hindi nagkasundo yung Senado at Kamara kung 100 or 200 pesos po yung aumento sa sahod. Meron po bang kasama sa priority bills ni Speaker itong wage hike sa mga una niyang inihain?
Sa mga unang na ihain ni Speaker Romualdez, hindi pa kasama yung sa wage hike mismo. Kasama dito yung RISE Act, yung Strengthening of the Universal Healthcare Act, the bill for the Philippine Center for Disease Prevention and Control Act. We also have the bill for the Private Basic Education Voucher Assistance Act and the Eastern Visayas Development Act bill, among others. But nakita naman natin yung suporta din ni Speaker Romualdez during the 19th Congress sa usaping pagtaas ng sahod ng ating mga manggagawa at hindi naman yan nagbabago.
Pero ma'am, kasi marami rin po kaninang mga certain groups like yung Kamanggagawa Party List, meron din silang sinusulong na sana pantay-pantay na Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, yung sahod. Tapos yung TUCP Party List, sinabi po nila na inihain po ulit nila yung 200 pesos, yung pumasa po sa third reading ng 19th Congress. And even itong Makabayan Block, may 1,200, nirefile po nila. Ano po ba yung chance na magkaroon na po tayo? Kasi marami pong umasang mga manggagawa, no, na magkaroon na po ng aumento sana sa sahod.
Kung naalala nyo, kahit naman noong 19th Congress, hindi naman iisang version lang yung bill na i-file sa Kamara. Marami ding versions yan. At kasama doon yung patuloy na pag-uusap at pag-konsulta sa mga labor groups, sa mga miyembro ng House of Representatives, sa various government agencies, para masiguro na kayang ipatupad to. We expect na ganun pa rin ang mangyayari ngayong 20th Congress, yung mas magpatuloy yung diskusyon at consultations. We have a strong starting point dun sa nangyari sa 19th Congress kung saan pumasa siya on third reading. So, mas nakita natin na malaki din ang suporta na nakuha ng mga manggagawa sa Kamara, and we are looking forward to see that same support for the legislations proposed on the wage hike bill.
Ma'am, maybe what lessons have we learned po doon sa 19th Congress na dapat natin ang gawin ngayon, 20th Congress, para masiguro po na magkakaroon po tayo ng legislated wage hike?
I think kasama dito yung ensuring na yung maipapasang batas ay kaya din ipatupad. Hindi pwedeng may mapasa lang na para lang masabi na may napasa tayo. Kailangan din masiguro na yung mga measures na ating inihahain, pag naipasa ito, ay kaya din ipatupad. Lagi naman tuloy-tuloy ang pagbabago ng sitwasyon ng ating bansa economically. Kaya habang patuloy po tayong ina-advocate yung mga pangangailangan ng manggagawa, patuloy din tayo makikipag-usap.
But with our yung counterpart po sa Senate, paano rin yung gagawin natin maybe to ensure na magkakaroon na ng, magmi-meet na po tayo?
Well, we mentioned naman before na kung naging bukas tayo sa pakikipag-usap sa kanila before, mas magiging bukas tayo sa pakikipag-usap ngayon, lalong-lalo na nakita natin from both houses na nung 19th Congress, may naipasa na na mga versions for the wage hike bill. Mas palalakasin natin ang relasyon ng both houses para masiguro yung mga ganitong klaseng mga measures ay mas mataas ang tsansa na mapasa ng both houses para maging batas at maimplementa.
Thank you po, Attorney.
Thank you, Marian. Janesca Panty from GMA Online is now acknowledged.
Good afternoon po. Attorney, may update lang po ba sa composition ng 20th Congress in terms of political parties? And I understand Lakas CMD is the largest political party, at least 80 ba? So, baka may updated lang kayong record
I think
of
wala.
lawmakers
I will have to
per political party.
I will have to check, parang wala pa ako nung updated sa ngayon. I'll get back to you on that. Wala pa ako. Pero alam ko sa Lakas, I think na more than 100 na, 110 na ang Lakas eh. Pero hindi ko pa alam yung composition of the other parties.
Follow-up lang po. Given that the Senate Impeachment Court required the certification of willingness, do you expect opposition dun sa pag-adapt ng resolution or any document certifying the willingness of the House?
Well, I cannot speak yet on that. Makikita natin to pag nagsimula na ang 20th Congress.
But given po na maraming, yung manifesto po kay Speaker Romualdez, who clearly stands for pursuing the impeachment complaint, ay over 283 na, as Congressman Janicio previously mentioned. Hindi ba yun guarantee na wala ng opposition
We are
at this
looking
point?
forward na patuloy pa rin ang posisyon ng Kamara. Dahil hindi naman nagbabago ang paninindigan ng Kamara pagdating sa proseso, na yung naging role nito sa proseso ng impeachment. At itutuloy-tuloy ito hanggang 20th Congress. Hindi lang ako makakapagsalita dahil unang-una, hindi pa naman nagsimula ang 20th Congress, at I'm not a member of the House to speak for the individual members, but on the position of the House as it stands, we maintain that we have done our part for the impeachment process and will continue to do our part.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Janesca. Before we wrap up, are there any further? Okay, Rosalie Cas from UNTV.
Pero given po na na-comply po ng House of Representatives yung first impeachment order na maglabas ng certification na constitutional, yun pong impeachment proceeding dito sa Kamara, magiging mahirap ba sa 20th Congress na mag-issue ng certification na itutuloy ng 20th Congress yun pong impeachment against the Vice President?
Para tingin ko, wala pa naman ako nakikitang magiging hadlang sa ngayon. Pero again, para magkaroon ng konklusibong sagot, aantayin natin ang pagsimula ng 20th Congress.
Regarding naman po sa bills and resolutions, since it's the first day of work para po sa mga uupo o mga uupong kongresista sa 20th Congress, nagkaroon po ng pag-igting ng tensyon sa pagitan po ng dalawang kapulungan ng Kongreso dahil sa issue ng impeachment. Maaapektuhan po ba yung pagpasa ng mga panukalang batas sa 20th Congress given the situation at lalo na po at magiging kung matutuloy ang impeachment trial ay may isa pang tatrabahuhin ang mga senador bukod po dun sa mga panukalang batas?
Hiwalay naman ang trabaho at tungkulin ng mga mambabatas dun sa pagpasa ng batas tsaka dun sa impeachment process. Para sa Kamara, dun sa impeachment proceedings, nandiyan ang mga authorized na mga panel of public prosecutors, pero tuloy-tuloy naman ang trabaho dito sa Kamara para dun sa mga legislative measures na na-file na. Tingin ko, madaming minsang mga conflicting positions ang Senate at House sa ibang bagay, pero para sa mikabubuti ng buhay at ng ating mamamayan, lagit-laging may puwang para magkasundo at mag-usap. At yun naman din ang ating gustong makita sa 20th Congress.
Pero noong 19th Congress po wala pang impeachment trial or proceedings, pero 1,400 legislative measures na naipasa ng Kamara, 700 doon hindi lumusot sa Senado. So ano pong expectations nyo sa 20th Congress?
The House of Representatives will continue to do its part in the legislative process. We will continue to work with the Senate para masiguro na tong mga legislative measures na ito, lalong-lalo na yung mga priority measures ng ating administration ay matugunan ng tamang pansin para maging parte na din ng solusyon ng mga problema ng mga Pilipino.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Rosalie. Kenneth Basilio from Business World, please proceed with your questions.
Hello po, magandang hapon. So most of the bills na filed kanina, parang mostly tackles key socio-economic issues such as rising prices of basic goods and yung persistently low wages. Why do you think na ganito yung composition ng mga bills that was filed today? Could you describe why po? Bakit naging ganon sa tingin nyo?
Nakikita naman natin na tuloy pa rin ang pangangailangan ng ating mamamayan na maging affordable ang mga basic needs at kaya nilang they can afford these basic needs. You have to remember our lawmakers are representatives of their constituents, so sila nakakaalam kung ano yung sitwasyon sa kanilang mga distrito. Maaring yun yung mga dahilan para dito. Pero maliban dyan, marami din tayong mga nakitang mga bills that were filed that will address national security, pabahay, healthcare, I think mga economic bills that will create various economic zones. So, nakikita natin yung iba't ibang holistic approach ng mga miyembro ng House of Representatives para matugunan yung mga pangangailangan ng ating mamamayan. And we're looking forward na mas marami pa in the next coming days na mafafile at pag matutugunan yan once na mag-start ang organization para mapag-usapan na sa mga appropriate committees.
Yesterday, Representative Chel Jokno warned that the Senate Impeachment Court's second requirement for the House of Representatives may be a trap as it may violate the one-year ban in the Constitution.
Well, I don't want to preempt. Ayokong paunahan ng impeachment team, kaya po mayroon tayong spokesman for the impeachment to provide the official reaction to anything, to matters related to the impeachment. Pero ako, isusuma ko lang po sa tatlong punto. Una, na-impeach na po yung pangalawang Pangulo. I don't know where in the Constitution it allows any change or any change in the scenario or in the situation other than by the Senate deciding and trying and deciding to try and to decide on the case of impeachment at hand. All things other than that have to be studied carefully, no? Pero nothing can change the fact that the Vice President has been impeached. Yun yung una. Pangalawa, ay yung usapin naman kung anong magiging hakbang ng 20th Congress, yan po ay nadedepende po sa 20th Congress. And we have yet to meet on the 28th for our first regular session. And I think by then we'll have a better appreciation of what the next steps are. Kasi for example, the Speaker naman, no, he has been supported daw by an overwhelming majority of members of Congress, and many of them were part of those who endorsed the impeachment against the Vice President. And I think it's their re-election, yung re-elect ang napakaraming kongresista na sumuporta sa impeachment proceedings, sa pag-impeach kay Vice President. And nagpapakita lang na we do not expect any change in the position of the House. But nonetheless, the Speaker being, as he has shown in the previous Congress, has shown himself to be a consensus builder. And I know he'll go through the process of really consulting the House, the party leaders, kung ano ang magiging hakbang. And I think it would be best to wait for that process to go on. No? But on a personal level, ako personally, ang paninindigan natin tungkol sa impeachment, ito po'y usapin ng accountability. And I don't think any election, any change in the political circumstance would warrant a change also in our faith in the need for accountability. Kasi isa lang naman ang magiging pamamaraan para matugunan natin ang panawagan for accountability. Magkaroon ng trial. And I think, and I personally would like to think that that is still the best way to go to resolve this impasse, so to speak.
Sir, if the Speaker will ask members of the 20th Congress kung pagbobotohan ba ito or hindi, ano pong magiging sagot nyo? And kung pagbobotohan, would you still want to pursue the impeachment?
Without preempting the decision of the 20th Congress, as I mentioned, my commitment to accountability remains strong. The case on the impeachment is a test of accountability, is a test on our political institutions. And the best way to move forward, in my mind, is ituloy natin ang proseso. At hayaan ho natin ang Senado at gampanan ho ng ating mga kaibigan sa Senado ang kanilang tungkulin na dinggin at maghusga sa impeachment case na sinubmit ng House of Representatives.
Sir, last na po, is there a need to comply with the second requirement?
Well, that is a question I will leave to the prosecutorial panel to address, no, because it would be something that's related not to the consideration of the prosecutorial team, but if you ask me, no, personally, we have done the impeachment, we have complied with our duty as in the 19th Congress, and I am of the opinion that that should be the starting point, rather than having to negate any of what we've done in the 19th Congress.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tina. We will now take questions from Bibian Gulia of ABS-CBN 2.
Good afternoon, sir. Meron pong mga nagsasabi na imposible na raw na pagbotohan pa itong resolution sa Kamara na yung sa certification na hinihingi ng Senate, yung second requirement. Will that be accurate? Ano pong tingin ninyo dito? Or at this point, pwede pa rin po ba?
Even sa totoo lang, it's difficult for me to assume anything, no, until Congress has properly been convened, and then we would have to discuss. Of course, as always said, this is the 20th Congress we're talking about. And there might be, let's say, some processes that we have to undertake. But then again, my opinion is, my personal opinion is, anything we've done in the 19th cannot also be negated by the 20th. Kasi the fact of the matter remains that the Vice President has been impeached. And ang worry ko lang, sa totoo lang, no, with the proceeding as it is sana hindi naman malunod sa technicality ang ating kagustuhang mabigyan linaw ang pananagutan sa pangalawang pinakamataas na lingkod bayan ng ating bansa.
Your comment din, sir, may another senator na nagsabi yesterday na kung erase ng kampo ni Vice President Duterte before the impeachment court, yung mga arguments nila for the dismissal of the complaint ay pwede itong pagbotohan ng Senado, Senate Impeachment Court.
Well, the Senate will operate according to the rules, according to the impeachment rules that they presented. We just hope that everything will be done in the spirit of fairness and integrity, no, the integrity of the process, and also we're all katatapos lang ho namin manumpa lahat to uphold, to support the Constitution of the Philippines.
Thank you, Bibian. Milky Regugnan from DCRH, now recognized.
Good afternoon, Congressman Isidre.
Yes, ma'am.
Will you support yung call for Congress na mas unahin daw po yung mas mahalagang panukalang batas ngayong 20th Congress? Number 1, the repeal of the oil deregulation law and the legislated wage hike. Kasi ang sabi, kumilos nga daw ang Kamara pero last minute yun ang puna ng Senado. Your thoughts on this?
Well, it would be very unfair to really consider, no, na sasabihin natin na tinagalan ng House. Kung makikita nyo yung version po natin sa Legislated Wage Act, kung saan isa tayo sa mga pangunahing may akda, nagpapakita ng stronger commitment ng mga members ng House na posible ang 200 legislated wage increase. So I think it would be unfair to say na kasi inupuan o pinatagal ng House, in the end, tayo po ang nakapag-justify ng mas mataas na legislated wage hike, which only warrants and also justifies the delay as may be perceived, no, the longer time required for us to be able to arrive at a decision. A decision that, of course, was carefully studied by the proponents of the legislated wage hike in the House. So in the 20th Congress, I also expect the same amount of diligence. May mga bagay kasi na pwedeng madaliin. May mga bagay din na it would take time for us to build consensus. And we know naman sa usapin ng legislated wage hikes, sa usapin ng deregulation, ng oil deregulation, nandun pa rin ang pangangailangan natin magkaroon ng consensus. And it does not in any way, yung pagkagustuhan na magkaroon ng consensus, mean that we will not give our best to ensure its passage. But nonetheless, at least ngayon, no, part of the work, a significant part of the work, of the research, of the debates have already been made at the 19th Congress. And so we expect also that this time around, we will be able to push for these bills more efficiently.
Kong Isidre, pero pwede ba kang mabigyan kami as early as now any scenario on the morning of July 28? Magiging busy ba ang House reporters sa mga ganap?
Well,
o meron pa bubang maghahamon? Sa
totoo lang ho, regarding ho saan po? Sa leadership ng House. Sa totoo, hindi ko na ho nga naisip yung tungkol sa speakership. The Speaker right now has 283 members of the 20th Congress who have expressed in writing their support for the Speaker. I don't think this is anymore a question that needs to be resolved. That question has been the issue on the speakership has already been resolved many weeks ago, and I think our support for Congressman Martin Romualdez to be the next Speaker of the House remains strong as ever.
Salamat, Kong.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Milky. Your turn, Rosalie Cas from UNTV.
Hi, Kong. Earlier po, you mentioned na sa konstitusyon, after magawa ng House yung responsibility nito sa impeachment, ang sunod na po nito ay ang trial at ang decision po ng Senate Impeachment Court. Naniniwala po ba kayo na yung dalawang impeachment orders ng Senate Impeachment Court ay unconstitutional?
Okay, I don't want to complicate further the work of our prosecutorial team, no? Pero ako naniniwala, in the end of it all, sisimplihan ko lang ho, sana hindi malunod sa technicality itong usapin ng impeachment. Ito po'y usapin ng accountability. Ibig sabihin po, lahat ho sana ng proseso ay nakatuon po sa katanungang kailangan bang husgahan, meron bang pananagutan ang isang opisyal na halal ayon sa ating saligang batas, ayon sa ating mga batas. Kung ang usapin lang po ng impeachment ay maiuwi kung i-dismiss dahil sa technicalidad, hindi ho natin na-serve ang original purpose ng impeachment process, that is to exact accountability from our elected officials. It would be difficult to ascertain at the moment, and I will leave it to the luminaries to decide whether what can be considered unconstitutional. Such actions will be considered unconstitutional or not. But in my mind, more than the constitutionality, it should be the morality of what we're doing that should disturb us, not only elected officials, but everyday Filipinos.
Follow-up lang po. Since unprecedented po yung impeachment orders ng Senate Impeachment Court sa House of Representatives, does it warrant your compliance?
Well, that is also a question that we want to clarify with the Senate. If you notice dun sa compliance sa response po ng House, no, may subject to clarificatory actions, no, yung pag-comply ng House, and that is the thing that we also have to consider in this case. Kailangan ba namin mag-comply? To what extent? Sa anong pamamaraan? Yung pong katanungan. Kumbaga, Rose, pareho tayo ng tanong.
Okay po, thank you po.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Rose. Go ahead, Janes Capanti from GMA Online.
Good afternoon, sir. Former VP Leni Robredo and now Naga City Mayor. She said during her inaugural speech that she will remove the confidential funds for LGU, Naga City LGU. Tapos, I think just this morning, a mayor from Dumanjug, Cebu, he said na he will follow the lead of the former VP. Do you think, having said that, do you think LGUs should be still allocated confidential funds for the 2025 budget, given that this fund has been subject to controversies and, you know, massive alleged misuse due to difficulty in, you know, limited powers of agencies to audit this kind of fund?
Ako honestly, hindi po ako, I think, no, personal ko po tong opinion, dapat hindi ho natin hinuhusgahan ang mga pondo dahil po sa mga nang-abuso dito. We have to also learn, we must also be able to ascertain the usefulness of certain mechanisms with the merits, with the good that they are able to do. And the same is the case with confidential funds. May mga LGUs po na nakakatulong po ang confidential funds, especially kung may security threats po na nakaloob. At ayaw naman ho natin na gawing one size fits all lahat for all LGUs. So ano po ang pwede nating hakbang? Ang mga kinakailangan ho nating hakbang, katulad po ng mga nakaraan sa 19th Congress, i-really paigtingin natin ang mga guidelines sa paggamit ng confidential funds. Isa po yun, siguro pagsasaibatas nung mga joint memorandum circular na ginagamit ngayon at pagbibigay po ng mas focus na legislation doon sa mga pananagutan ng mga SDOs, pati po yung qualification nila. Doon po sa paggamit po ng fidelity bonds ng ating mga mga SDOs at lahat po na may custody ng confidential funds. Marami po tayong natutunan na mga gaps, regulatory gaps, practices na kailangan pong ayusin doon po sa hearing natin ng Committee on Good Governance, and Public Accountability noong nakaraang Kongreso. At yan po siguro ang kailangan nating gawin. Hindi naman ho natin pwedeng alisin totally ang confidential funds, especially in some municipalities or LGUs or even agencies of government kung saan malaking tulong din po ito para sa mga ginagawa nilang mga aktibidades related to public order and security or even like anti-insurgency measures. Pero ang mahalaga lang, inasayayos natin ang legal framework at yung paano po gagamitin. And also, to be sure na merong sapat na oversight ang COA, for example, at even po yung ibang mga agencies na may ganitong pananagutan.
Thank you, Lenesca. Haji Camino from Brigada.
Good afternoon po, Kong Jude. Nag-file po ulit yung Makabayan Block House Bill 209, if I'm not mistaken, na kung saan po yung anti-political dynasty bill ay kanila pong final. Your thoughts on this po, Kong?
Well, this is a personal position. No? I think, for me, political dynasties are not the problem but rather symptomatic of the problem we have. Ang problema ho talaga natin is political participation. Paano natin gagawin na mas maraming Pilipino pa ang pwedeng makisali sa politika ng ating bansa? At maraming factors po ang kailangan natin konsidera. For example, education, political education ng mga tao, ang willingness ng mga tao makilahok sa mga gawain. Kasi ang politika dapat hindi lang ho panahon lang naman ng eleksyon. I understand where they're coming from and I understand perfectly the merits of the proposals to ban political dynasties. But I think, rather than exclude people, mas mahalagang pagtuunan natin ng pansin ano yung mga pamamaraan para maipasok natin at magkaroon ng pagkakataong makalahok ang mga qualified na mga Pilipino na may kagustuhan, may pagnanais at kapasidad na maging lingkod bayan ng ating bansa.
Kasi parang sinasabi po nila dun sa explanatory note nila, Kong. In fact, nung 2025 midterm elections daw po, parang marami na nanalo sa election ay part ng political dynasty. Tapos number 2, ang binabanggit po nila, meron naman po mga nanalo na kakaupo pa lang daw po sa pwesto. Piniprepare na po agad yung papalit sa kanila. Like for example, yung asawa or yung anak, parang pinaghahandaan na po agad.
Mahirap maging hukom no, for the political decisions of certain individuals. In the end kasi, lahat naman ng mga opisyalis ng bansa hinaharap ang mga tao no para ang mga botante sa tuwing kami tumatakbo for elections. My mind is just I think in many cases where political dynasty, so to speak, thrive no is also because there is little or there are few political opportunities for people to participate. Buksan ho natin yon. Bigyan ho natin ng pagkakataon. Kasi ang usapin ng politika, hindi lang naman ho paglahok, pagtakbo ng eleksyon. Makilahok po tayo, makialam po tayo sa mga isyong pinag-uusapan. At sa kadahilanan pong yun, magkakaroon ng mas malawak na pangunawa ang ating mga kababayan sa estado ng ating politika. At I think, in my mind, that would be a more proactive manner of responding to political dynasties. Hindi naman siguro dapat, hindi naman fair ng isang politiko ay ating sasabihin ay hindi yan competent, hindi yan qualified sa kadahilanan lang kung sino ang magulang o kamag-anak nila. Dapat ang tanong natin, kaya ba niyang maglingkod? Nararapat ba siyang mahalal? At yan po ay hindi lang masasagot ng pagban ng political dynasties.
Last na lang po. So, bali parang mangyayari, dapat po ma-empower yung mga voters, yung participation po nila. So, papaanong paraan po kaya ito by, like for example, may campaign po ba dapat? O meron po dapat na i-file na separate bill for
Ako personally, ang isa ng nating pwedeng gawin ay pagpapalakas talaga ng mga partido political sa bansa. If we are able to encourage political competition within parties, make sure na merong kaukulang parusa sa pagpapalit ng partido at sa pagpapalakas pa ng ating mga partido bilang vehicles for political participation, hindi hun magiging issue ang political dynasties. Kasi kahit ako po'y sabihin na lang natin, anak o pamangkin o kamag-anak ng isang nakaupong politiko, pwede pa rin kailangan ko pa rin ipakita na ako'y karapat-dapat at ako'y may kapasidad na maglingkod sa constituency na gusto kong paglingkuran.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Haji. Willie Delgado from DZMM.
Magandang hapon no, Kong.
Good afternoon.
Si Senator Ping Lacson nag-file ng panukala para magkaroon ng participation ng civil society sa budget deliberation. Ang isa naging concern niya kasi, sabi niya, behind closed doors daw kasi nagkakaroon ng insertion sa budget, nagkakaroon ng pork barrel. Like yung katulad ng nangyari last year sa budget deliberation, nagkaroon ng controversial, especially yung mga blank pages. Dito naman sa House, kinakampanya ni Speaker yung hashtag Open Vicam. Your thoughts po?
Well, first of all, we're all for accountability and ako, I welcome both proposals. Una, yung panawagan ng Speaker Martin Romualdez na magkaroon ng open bicameral conference proceedings. At alam ko, si Speaker, hindi lang sa BICAM, buong proseso ng budget process ay pinag-aaralang paano pa magkakaroon ng mas malawakang paglalahok o partisipasyon ng ating mga ordinaryong Pilipino. That's one thing for sure. And I think we are all looking at how we can operationalize it at the moment. Yung panawagan naman ni Senator Ping, sa totoo lang, ako personally, hindi na kailangan siguro ng bill. Ang kailangan na lang gawin, magpasa ng resolusyon. Kasi kung bill, matagal pa. Pero kung may resolution, pwede na natin i-implement once ma-adapt ng plenaryo at hindi na ho kailangan ng approval kahit ng presidential action, no. So those are the things. I think both proposals are worth supporting, and personally I believe that we should continue to widen the space for civil society to participate not only in lawmaking but also even in the way Congress exercises or oversight functions over certain agencies.
Labas naman po tayo. Ang US Congress is proposing na magkaroon tayo dito ng production ng mga ammunitions. Halo-halo po kasi yung mga reaction ng iba't ibang mga sectors, may negative, may mga positive. Sa tingin nyo, makabubuti po kaya ito o hindi maganda para sa atin? Considering na recently lang, binomba ng Iran yung facility ng US sa Qatar, no? And in place pa rin naman yung away ng Pilipinas at China, and may iringan din yung US at yung China.
Hindi ako masyadong pamilyar sa conditionalities na gusto ng US Congress tungkol sa pagbubukas ng mga ammunition sa manufacturing facilities sa Pilipinas. Pero ako po'y personally naniniwala dun sa pagpapalakas ng ating defense industry. If not for export, and hindi pa tayo kailangan umabot doon, even for self-sufficiency. Siguro ko, kahit siguro sa usapin ng bala, hindi pa tayo ganun ka self-sufficient. So malaking bagay po kung meron tayong expertise na makukuha or capacity na makukuha, that would put us in a much better position in terms of defense capability, lalo-lalo sa manufacturing ng armaments. Hindi naman, sabi nga nila, hindi naman yun dahil gusto nating gamitin, pero sa kadahilan ng mas magiging matatag at panatag tayo sa usapin ng security kung meron naman tayong kapasidad at lalong-lalo ng ating Armed Forces of the Philippines. Ang isang malaking bagay din yan, kung meron tayong mas malakas na defense industry, kung ano man ang posibleng revenues dito, I see potentially a source of revenue for the AFP modernization. Hindi naman pwedeng lahat ay galing source sa monetization ng ating mga assets, yung mga lupa. May hangganan din yon ng pwede nating maibenta. Pero malaking bagay na kung ano man magkaroon ng mga hakbang upang patatagin ang ating defense industry to generate revenues also for the modernization of the AFP. And other than that, also to be able to improve our defense capability, our self-sufficiency in terms of addressing whatever gaps we have in terms of our defense capability.
Thank you po.
Thank you, Willie. Christian Bascones of PTV4 is now recognized.
Kung balik tayo dun sa issue kanina na tinalakay, let us just have this emphasis sa sinabi niyo po na wag na naman sanang lunurin sa technicalities ang ginagawa na pag-require na o second requirement ng Senate. So sa tingin niyo po ba the gravity of what is happening right now is ito yung intention?
No, I don't want to impute anything on the Senate. No, out of courtesy for the other chamber, I'd like to take it as a sign of good faith. No, but just a reminder for everybody involved in the process that the end point of an impeachment is to exact accountability and not provide an opportunity for others to escape from it, di ba? Ang tanong dito is may pananagutan ba, may nalabag ba? Hindi yung sino ba dapat ang magdi-dismiss ba? Paano ba ang botohan? Importante yung mga bagay na yun. Hindi ko po sinasabing hindi. Pero ang mas importante at mahalagang katanungan para sa ating mga kababayan saan napunta yung pera ng confidential funds? May kasalanan ba? Pag sinabi mo bang ipapapatay mo ang presidente, ang presidente, unang speaker at ang unang ginang, meron pang pananagutan ng isang halal na lingkod bayan. Those are the questions that should be considered. In other words, it should not stifle the need of the people to be able to know the facts of the matter. It should not stop and should not prevent and should not delay any further our need to present evidence, di ba? And for our institutions, for the Senate, for example, for the House serving as prosecutors, to make their case, and for the defense even, no, to show. Kaya kasabi namin, edi kung may ebidensya, convict. Pag wala, acquit. Let the process go on.
Okay. Dito naman po tayo, Congressman. Before you have said na yung withdrawal ng Pilipinas sa ICC ay isang pamamaraan to avoid accountability. Now, given the recent Okta research survey showing that a majority of Filipinos support the Philippines rejoining the International Criminal Court, how do you believe this public sentiment should influence Congress positions on this matter?
Well, in the end, no, I think the people, mga kababayan natin yun, and the results of the election would show, there's already a change in mindset. People are already seeing the importance of accountability. Maybe our friends, our work in the 19th Congress had its own role of telling the people that in the end, the power of the people are more powerful than those in power, di ba? And I think it's a wake-up call for everyone. And even with this, with the ICC issue, sabi nga namin, it shouldn't be just about one person. Hindi dapat ang usapin ito tungkol kay Rodrigo Duterte lamang. Pero ito talaga ay para magkaroon ng karapatang at sapat na nararapat na safeguards ang ating bansa, ang ating estado, ang ating mga kababayan, sakasakaling may mga pagkakataong katulad nito.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Christian. Melanie Reyes from Radyo Pilipinas.
Hi, Kong. Hingan ko lang po kayo ng comment. Sabi po ng National Hog Farmers, posibleng tumaas ang presyo ng pork meat sa Region 8 pending the repair of San Juanico Bridge. Sabi nila baka mapwersa silang ipasa ang 4 to 6 pesos na dagdag presyo kada kilo na karning baboy. Paano po tayo makakatulong, sir?
Well, even before that became an issue, no, pinag-isipan na ho natin yan. Kaya ho, kasama ng Office of Civil Defense, meron ho tayong isang biyahe ng libre sakay. Kung saan ang essential goods katulad ng pagkain, livestock at iba pa, ay pwede pong maitawid na walang additional cost. At yan po ay ginagawa po natin to provide a certain degree of stability sa mga presyo. Kaya po ang panawagan natin sa lahat ng involved, no, magkatulungan na lang ho tayo. Marami pa ho mga pamamaraan, binadagdagan ho natin ng biyahe, sinusubukan ho natin madagdagan yung mga biyahe ng mga barge, no, para makatawid at kahit ho yung libreng sakay natin. Marami pong avenues para magkatulungan. Wag ho sana yung una nating solusyon ay magtaas ng presyo o magpasa ng taas ng presyo. Kasi ginagawa naman ho talaga ng pamahalaan at ng iba pang mga ahensya kung ano man ang makakaya para ma-stabilize natin ang presyo ng mga pangunahing pangangailangan, lalong-lalo na ng pagkain.
Sir, follow-up, matutuloy po ba na masisimulan na yung rehabilitation ngayong July? Na i-download na po ba yung funds na kinakailangan?
Well, at the moment, I'm not so privy pa, no, to the details as to na-download na ba. But we have the full assurance of the President, especially na nag-declare na ng state of calamity, state of emergency, tungkol po sa posibleng epekto ng pag-restrictions ng San Juanico Bridge. And kailangan ho nating, well, sinabi na ni Presidente, pag December, hindi pa naitaas to 12 tons yung load capacity ng live load capacity ng San Juanico Bridge, ay may mga mawawala ng trabaho. It only shows the seriousness of the President, and we have no reason to not to trust the President on this matter.
Thank you, sir. Thank you po.
Thank you, Melanie. Last questions from Red Mendoza of Manila Times.
Hi po, Kong. Good afternoon. Add ko lang po doon sa tanong ni Ate Lani kasi I talked to our Tacloban correspondent, si Moises Cruz, and sabi niya na wala pa rin daw nangyayaring construction doon sa San Juanico Bridge. So, paano natin mariresolve yun? Kasi di ba nga may deadline na December si Mr. President. Paano natin maayos yung...
Hindi naman ibig sabihin na walang nangyayaring construction, walang ginagawang mga hakbang. Meron ho tayong procurement processes na nasimulan na. Alam ko ho, kasi nakakatanggap po tayo ng updates, may regular na ho na assessment doon mismo sa mga pier, sa ilalim ng tulay. Marami na hong nagagawa. Remember, this is not an ordinary bridge we're talking about. Even the amount of preparation needed to ensure its rehabilitation would require some time. Diba? Hindi naman to 300-meter na bridge. Oo nga, 2 kilometers sobra lang to. Pero that again by itself yung lalim no nasa ilalim nung dinadaan ng strait, no. So ako I'd like to assure everyone that based on the updates that we're receiving from DPWH and the other concerned agencies, nakatuon naman ang lahat. Kasi kami din mismo hindi rin namin papayagan na ma-delay pa further yung construction o yung rehabilitation ng San Juanico Bridge natin ngayon.
Okay, another question po. Yung tungkol po doon sa mga bills ano po yung mga first bills na final po ng Tingog Party List, and how different are these bills na final ng Tingog Party List tong first day ng Congress as opposed doon sa mga final ng ibang mga lawmakers po?
Well, tayo ang perspektibo natin kasama po si Congressman Martin Romualdez at yung mga iba nating kasamahan sa Tingog Party List, siguraduhin na ang mga batas na ating isusulong, lalong-lalo na yung unang 20 batas na ating na-i-file na, ay tutugon talaga sa mga pangailangan ng mga ordinaryong Pilipino. Ika nga, concerns from the house to their homes. So yun yung gusto natin. Like for example, ang ating House Bill number 1, itungkol sa rice. Bale, dalawang aspeto po yun. Yung pag-stabilize ng presyo at pag-stabilize ng supply. pag-guarantee ng supply. Bali, pagbabalik po ng kakayahan para sa NFA na mag-angkat ng bigas kung kinakailangan, at the same time to also exact accountability for those who would hoard or those who would manipulate prices with the rice prices. So, lahat po yun nire-restore po natin kasi na-amend po yun dun sa rice tarification law. Nandyan po din ang pag-a-adjust nung yung PhilHealth amendments to Universal Health Care Law, House Bill number 2 or number 3 ba? Medyo nalilito lang ako sa numbers pero malaking bagay doon. Una, yung hayaan ng mag-adjust ang ating mga premiums, no, based doon sa hindi lang sa projected cost of healthcare but also with other socio-economic factors, depende po sa estado ng ekonomiya, but all subject to Congress. Meron doon, siguro matutuwa ang maraming Pilipino, isang provision na hindi na pwedeng isauli lahat ng pondo na natanggap sa PhilHealth ay hindi ito pwedeng ibalik sa general fund. So kung anumang agam-agam ang meron tayo tungkol sa pera ng PhilHealth, ito'y binibigyan natin ng ngipin. So meron pang ibang mga batas, lalo yung last mile schools, yung Center for Disease Control, yung National Infrastructure Framework. Lahat po to ay nakatuon sa pagbibigay kumbaga pagbibigay suporta at pagpapalakas pa, pagpapatatag pa ng mga solusyon na tutugon sa pangangailangan ng ordinaryong Pilipino mula pagkain, edukasyon, hanap buhay at maging sa lokal na development.
Last na lang po. Of course, usaping impeachment. In the hypothetical na, kunyari, makonvict man si Vice President Sara Duterte, kasi nakasaad po sa Constitution na ang pipili po, the President can choose within the members of the House of Representatives or the Senate ng magiging kapalit niya na Vice President. Kayo po, in your opinion, do you think po ba Congressman Martin Romualdez can be a best Vice President for BBM?
Alam niyo, mahirap mag-comment sa bagay na wala pa eh. Impeach muna natin, tapos sasagutin ko yan pagkatapos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Rosalicas, please proceed.
Sorry, ongoing kasi yung press con po ng impeachment spokesperson right now. And isa po sa binabanggit niya, kaya po nag-release ng impeachment orders ang Senate Impeachment Court address sa House of Representatives para po yung pong mga legal impediments maiwasan na pagka nagsimula na mismo yung trial. Your reaction to this po?
Well, to be honest, if it did not, ganito po yun. For me, those are questions also that could form part of the defense and would be better be discussed during the course of the trial instead of having to have prevented the course of the trial.
So sa tingin sir, questionable yung kanilang purpose doon po sa
With all due respect to the Senate, I think they're coming from something and they want to get that out of their way. But our position, my personal perspective, no, I'm not speaking for the House in this case. I think these are matters that would have been already discussed in the course of the defense of the trial. So it shouldn't be the Senate pointing them out. It should have been the defense lawyers pointing them out. Kasi if you look at the defense, what the defense submitted to the Supreme Court for clarifications are basically the same things that were being pushed for, or the controversies that being given consideration by the Senate. Not necessarily doubtful, but I think lang the trial should have proceeded first, so that both sides would have been heard before you can actually resolve these issues.
Yung action na yun naging mas favorable sa defense?
In my opinion, yes. Does it take the credibility of the Senate? No. I stand by the integrity of our institution as an elected official. I have full faith in the process and full faith and I have full faith that the Senate will exercise its mandate with independence and integrity.
Follow-up. Kung it favored the defense, anong damage sa House and the prosecution panel?
I don't think there's any damage to the position of the prosecutors. What it has damaged is the opportunity for the people to hear the case and for themselves to determine the facts of the matter. Remember, while this is a constitutional process, as they always say, it's a political one, and the understanding of the people would always play a factor in the final outcome of what will be tried in the Senate.
May mga nag-call out na rin po sa impeachment court na saying nag-aabogado po ang impeachment court para kay VP Sara Duterte. Your comment on that and mensahe po sa kanila. Well,
Yun nga ho ang iniiwasan natin kasi nagmumukhang nag-aabogado. Pero alam natin kung meron mang pananagutan, kung meron mang perspektibo o meron mang concern ang Senado, it could have been raised better in the course of the trial, di ba? That would have been the proper context for them to be able to raise their concerns and their objections, especially if these issues would have rather been left for the defense to point out. Kasi that would have afforded also the House to present. Now, no damage is being done to the prosecutorial panel kasi hindi pa naman sila nag-represent ng position ng prosecutors. But in the end, yung taong bayan ang nadedehado dito sa usaping ito. Kasi dapat alam na ng taong bayan to eh. Alam na sana natin, nag-proceed na sana tayo doon sa mga katanungan na sabi ko kanina kung anong katotohanan tungkol sa paggamit ng confidential funds at iba pang paratang sa articles of impeachment.
Okay, Big Simintak from Net25.
Just a follow-up, Kong Asidre. With the actuation of the Senate as impeachment court, na parang nag-aabogado sila sa kay BP Sara, and the prosecution, and kumbaga, umaasa pa rin tayo na ibabatay nila doon sa bigat ng ebidensya ang magiging hatol nila as senator judges. Pero with that actuation, hindi ba nangangamba ang House, particularly the prosecution panel, na wala silang aasahan na dadaan sa... Because this is a political political proceedings, not purely criminal proceedings.
As I said kanina, I cannot speak for the prosecutorial panel, no, kasi they will have to address the issues from as not only as members of the House but also as officers of the court, no. So, I with all due respect to them, I would decline to provide any answer on their behalf. Pero ako personally, ito lang po ang masasabi ko. Mas maganda sana kung ang mga usaping ito tinatalakay in the course of the trial rather than before it. Kasi magbibigay po ng karapatang konteksto bakit po kailangan mag-proceed o bakit po ano po ang bigat ng mga ebidensya. Kasi kaya kahunang sinabi ko kanina, the case of the House remains strong regardless of what the Senate would do, but in the end ang nadehado lang ang taong bayan kasi sa panahon ito dapat ang mga katanungan na nating sinasagot hindi lang tungkol kung should it proceed or not, kung sino magsusunod or sino ang magdidesisyon, kung ano mang desisyon o magbobotohan ba, pero ang katanungan na mas mahalaga anong nangyari sa confidential funds, may karapatang parusa ba ang pagsabing ipapapatay bang presidente unang ginanang speaker. Those are for me the far more important questions that the people deserve to know.